And we are getting an update from Calgary city officials on wildfires in that province. Let's listen in.
Each containing 4 firefighters, in addition to one district chief, plus one apparatus technician or mechanic to assist with mechanical issues for those trucks along the way. In total, with 2 shifts of firefighters that are going to be rotating in 12-hour shifts on and off, we have a total of 26 firefighters plus a mechanic, so 27 personnel in total that are deployed at this time. We're continually evaluating this rapidly evolving situation, and we'll continue to see what requirements are going forward and how the Calgary Fire Department can assist. The crews that are being deployed currently are off-duty crews, and we're utilizing spare reserve apparatus that we have in place. So this does not impact frontline service delivery to Calgarians, and we'll continue to maintain our existing service levels and deployment models for the time being.
Thank you. And with that, I will ask Kayla to help us moderate any questions that you may have.
Okay, we're going to start with in the room and then we'll move to politics.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the reception center. How many people are you expecting will arrive?
That's a really hard question for us to answer. Right now, what we know is we want to be set up in case any Albertans need a place to go, but it's impossible for us to predict how many will show up at the center.
Is there a ballpark number that you're preparing for in terms of resources being deployed to that area?
So certainly what we know is when people get evacuated from their homes, a very small percentage of people need assistance in terms of housing and lodging. That's usually about 3% of the evacuated folks that need help. Certainly there are other evacuation centers that are closer to Calgary, so we expect people will go to those centers first. And as the province is moving people around, we may see some folks here. We are preparing for about 100 individuals when we look at the group lodging perspective and the hoteling combination, with the ability to very quickly add more if we need more, as well as the ability to downsize if we've gone too heavy in that.
So we're talking about people being accommodated in that grandstand or
So it's a bit of a combination of both. So the way the grandstand is set up is to receive individuals, make sure that they're registered, make sure that we have access to those mental health supports and any other challenges. We do have some cots that are set up in a general lodging type scenario there. Our first preference would be to work with the hotel association, which we have been doing to secure hotel rooms for those individuals. But in the chance that somebody comes in late at night or out of that process, they may have to spend a night on a cot while we organize the hoteling system.
I think you guys are following really closely what's happening there. Whether intervene positively, and that might affect
Absolutely. Wildfire is very, very dependent on the weather that's happening and the local conditions. It's very difficult. We've been monitoring the response around the province, but in terms of the specific of each fire, because it is out of our jurisdiction, we haven't been closely monitoring the fire conditions or the weather conditions in other jurisdictions.
How long do you guys prepare this for here as this response? I know folks in Edson so there's obviously ever evolving. Just curious how long this request is standing for.
This is a very, very dynamic situation. As we've seen over the last week, folks are being evacuated, folks are returning back to home just to be evacuated again. So it is dynamically changing. As of right now, we know for the next week, we will have the Emergency Social Services Center stood up, and we will be evaluating continuously through that time to make sure we've got the right supports that Calgarians and Albertans need.
What does this process look like? I know the city council yesterday regarding so when did the request from the province come in? What does that look like?
So we had a official request from the province through the Alberta Emergency Management Agency yesterday in the late afternoon. Things take a lot of time to get organized in the background in terms of how many people and locations to prepare for. So that's why we wanted to get the message out as soon as we could that we were opening a center here, but we didn't have the details to provide in terms of timing or location until later.
Maybe just for the mayor, what role, if any, can you provide in this, or can city council? Would there be any administrative offices available at City Hall for any staff that may need the municipalities affected, or what role does city council and you yourself?
Thanks for that question. I think the most important thing to remember is that this is provincial jurisdiction and we are a partner who, when we are called upon, we provide any type of service that's needed. It's all coordinated through Calgary Emergency Management Agency. Chief Sue Henry and her team are very capable at the deployment that's needed and managing the requests that are coming in. As a city council and as your mayor, I'm simply here to say that we are supporting CEMA. They do excellent work and we are here to provide the types of services that are needed, as we feel that all Albertans deserve us coming together to resolve this.
Maybe for the deputy fire chief, what additional crews could the Calgary Fire Department deploy if that request is
It's a great question, and I think it's as we've heard this morning already. It is a very rapidly developing situation. We're going to have to monitor it closely to see. We do have capability to deploy additional resources if needed. Traditionally, this is the type of resource that we would send as these Type 1 engines. They're engines equipped with water tanks and hose, among other things, and tools as well that the firefighters use. We would potentially expect more requests for the same type of resources, but we do have others available that we can certainly review those requests when they come in and assess whether or not we're able to provide that support as well.
Well, I actually do.
Yep.
Just how was the Bradbury area chosen? Was that request specifically from that municipality, or was that just determined based on the provincial outlook of where the help might be needed most?
Yeah, so that came through Alberta Emergency Management Agency through to Calgary Emergency Management Agency, and that was how we were asked to go to that particular location. So essentially, they're making the determination as the people that are on the ground at these sites of where the resources are best deployed and best allocated, and then we're responding to those requests accordingly.
Oh, I did have a question as well for yourself.
Sure.
As well, you mentioned 27 total personnel from Calgary Fire Department and some apparatus, spare apparatus. How many people are available, and how many pieces of equipment are available from that reserve, that spare lot, if you will, to assist in this?
So I don't have an exact number that I can quote you today as far as exact numbers of apparatus. We do have, though, reserve apparatus for all of our apparatus that are out there, all different types of apparatus, that is. So there are additional ones that are available. Depending on what asks, if any, come to us in the future, we will assess basically the need to maintain some of those for operational readiness in the city of Calgary, to maintain service delivery to citizens, balance that out against the requests that are being made by other jurisdictions in Alberta Emergency Management to ensure that we're supporting them to the best degree possible.
When was the last time that Calgary Fire sent out more than 25 personnel to assist outside of Calgary?
So we have deployed out of the city a number of times over the years. I think the most recent one for us would have been to the Waterton National Park for the fires there that were a few years back. That would be the most recent large-scale out-of-city deployment.
Might be for the mayor. Would you like to see the province take up the federal government offer to provide assistance, as you mentioned briefly, on evacuees?
What I can tell you is that very much like we trust Calgary Emergency Management Agency to guide us through our local states of emergency when they occur, I can tell you that the provincial government relies very heavily on the Alberta Emergency Management Agency. So depending on the recommendations that are coming from that group, I would anticipate that the provincial government will make the decisions that need to be made about which jurisdiction needs to come in and provide assistance. So I'm sure they will be doing that. Thanks.
Operator, can you open the lines, please?
If anyone has a question, please press star 1 on your touch tone phone now. There are no questions on the phone at this time.
And we've been listening to an update from Calgary city officials on wildfire assistance in that area. They've opened a wildfire evacuation center at the Grandstand Arena at Stampede Park, while they also help arrange accommodation.
When it comes to a provincial response, we work with our provincial partners to do that. We're working on estimates in the background based on the number of folks that we have sent out. The folks that are under the Canada Task Force 2 umbrella will be reimbursed by the province, as well as the emergency reception centre that we're setting up. We have an agreement, the folks that are going with Calgary Fire will be reimbursed by Grand Prairie as the requesting county. And then we also have some assets that are deployed under Alberta Wildfire, which follows a different reimbursement process with Alberta Wildfire, but none of the costs will be City of Calgary costs.
So far, this is looking very different from Fort Mac. We welcomed a couple thousand people back then. What do you expect? Do we have that capacity and energy needed to welcome that volume?
This is a very different response than there was in Fort Mac. In Fort Mac, it was isolated to one area, the community and the town of Fort McMurray. This is really widespread across the different communities in Alberta. So that's what makes it somewhat dynamic. We certainly do have the capacity if we were to have a large influx of evacuees come to Calgary. That is capacity that we have, and we would still be able to have capacity if something happened in the City of Calgary to take care of our own citizens.